Hey everyone, long time no see. I recorded something a while back and I really didn't like how it came out. So I skipped it and I've been missing for a while. As you can see, my hair has gotten longer since my last video. I'm also holding my mic. I've realized I can move it out of my face a little bit. So you can see my graying mug. I might cut all this out. Anyway. So, the new edition of Warhammer is coming out, the 11th edition, coming in June. Hype is pretty hot at the moment. A lot of people are talking about it, and I wanted to throw in my input, give you my Warhammer journey over the last 3 years or so. So, around my 29th birthday, so that would be, 3 years ago, 29, 30, 31. Am I 32? So I had a little mental breakdown at 29. And I had always had the backup plan of getting into Warhammer. I always joked that it would be my retirement thing, that what I would do for, to kill time in my retirement. And then, I was like, why wait? Why wait? Why wait until I'm too old and I have a real fear of losing my dexterity in my hands? And I'm not already shaky. I'm only shaky when I overcaffeinate. Speaking of, this is all, I don't have anything like super written down. You can see in my notes, I have this one page here. I played a little bit of, my first real introduction into Warhammer was video games. Vermintide 2 went on sale, like 3 or 4 years after it came out. But it was end times for AOS, so it was a weird, technically not even AOS, Warhammer Fantasy. So it was, that world doesn't exist anymore. Or it exists now, but it's now the old world, and then I got Mechanicus, and I played the hell out of that. And then I think those were the big two, when I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna see what this tabletop game is all about. Because I like painting things. I like building things. I've built a couple of Gundams. I don't think you can see them. There's one right there, my very first Gundam. If you zoom in, I'm not gonna zoom in. It's I don't even know which Gundam it is, to be honest, because I haven't watched a lot of the series. I watched the first movie. This isn't a Gundam video. Anyway. So, I do my cursory research into Warhammer, because I don't have any friends who play Warhammer. I didn't have any friends who were into the hobby at the time. So I had to figure it out on my own. Bricky did a bunch of videos about every faction in Warhammer and like a quick summary of them all. I watched some Auspex Tactics videos. I watch him a lot right now still, because I actually understand him. I was watching him before I understood any of the tabletop rules or the mechanics. I didn't know any of the terminology. They scared me. I'm now a very big fan of his, so check out his videos. People online say when you first get into Warhammer, you're going to buy Space Marines. Everybody buys a Space Marine army or has something to do with Space Marines. They're the poster boy faction of the series. If you know anything about Warhammer 40,000, you've seen a Space Marine. I decided, okay, I'll start with a Space Marine faction. So then I watched another one of his videos that broke down all the Space Marine factions. And it was kind of tough to decide between a couple of them. I settled on the Salamanders, though. So I have a whole Salamanders army that I've been working towards, but we'll get to it. Who are the Salamanders? Why did I go with the Salamanders? Well, at the time, I was going through a real reptilian phase of my life. I was really into reptiles. I had this really cool idea for a book when I was in elementary school that I was going to write about becoming cold-blooded, or reverting to the idea of being a cold-blooded animal has really stuck with me for a long time. I can't really explain why. As a mammal, we're warm-blooded, but reptiles, they spoke to me. Cool. They have a sort of a, the dragon aesthetic to them. They have the bright green and gold color scheme. I like green. They live on a volcano planet. A volcano death world. Freaking sick. Super cool. They like shooting stuff with flame weapons and meltas. Fucking dope. They're forge masters. Usually they forge their own equipment, maintain most of their own equipment. The thing that really set them apart, because I was trying to decide between them and the Raven Guard. Really, they're the emo faction. They have birds, wings aesthetic. They keep the beaky helmets, which is an older pattern of power armor. It's super cool. If you've seen Bolt Gun, the dude from that rocks the beaky helmet. The orcs call Space Marines beakies because when they first ran into them, they had like the beaky helmet. It's a cool look. They still rock it, but the thing that cemented me for the salamanders was their Primarch, Vulcan, who, weirdly enough, before I was ever introduced to Warhammer, I named my cat Vulcan. Spelled with a C, not with a K, like the Primarch. But that got me. I was like, that's divine providence. That's kismet. Right? I don't think I'm using that right. Start making a lot of purchases. Not a lot, not a ton. I started kind of slow. Luckily enough, there was a 9th edition Christmas Battle Force box for the Salamanders. Came with 20 intercessors, a unit of eradicators, a unit of flamestorm aggressors, you could have built them Boltstorm, but why would you? Adrax Agatone, captain of the 3rd Company, which is a spoiler for the book I'm working on the Salamanders Omnibus. I'm starting to read the Salamanders lore now, 3 years after the fact. I should have done a little bit more reading, and I like the fact that the Salamanders are one of the few, if not the only, Space Marine chapter that still regards human life as important, even in the 41st millennium, when humanity is at war with everything and everyone in the galaxy. The Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines, who are these transhuman beings who are demigods, essentially. The new knights, the knight class, the angels of death, that a lot of them regard themselves as beyond human, and therefore disregard human life. And the Salamanders don't do that. They're one of the only chapters that actually live amongst the humans on their planet, which is tough to do. Nocturne is an awful, awful place. You don't want to live on Nocturne, from what I've been reading about. It is a volcanic hellscape. It's crazy. I'm not very far in the Salamanders Omnibus, so I'm not gonna bore you with all the stories because I don't know all the stories. Battle Force box. Bunch of intercessors. I've since converted a handful of them. It turned out you don't need 20 intercessors. I've been running maybe 2 units of 5, maybe 1 unit of 10 sometimes. I've converted some into assault intercessors. I've converted a few of them into outriders that I've also kit bashed. That was a pretty recent project. It was really fun to make salamanders on salamanders. Purchasing models is expensive. It's an expensive hobby, you guys. It's a full-blown hobby. I mean, you shouldn't get into Warhammer tabletop if... I mean, you can casually get into it. There's some small things you can get into it. If you want to get into it just to play the tabletop game, I would recommend buying secondhand if you don't care about the artistic process of building and painting your models. Personally, I do. Personally, I did. I wanted and have a fully painted list. I have a full army. I'm going to run my current Unto the Anvil list that just lists out all of my models right now that have hand painted. And I'm pretty stoked. And I finished them up recently. Like a couple months ago, maybe. That's just a recent thing. That's recent thing in just 40k, by the way. In between different points of me purchasing models, I've gotten into AOS because it was weird. Like when I first got into Warhammer, when I made my decision, I was like, okay, here we go, purchase. Literally, like a week after I hit that purchase, they announced 10th edition, which is insane. Like, I didn't know it was coming, but I had also just bought the 9th edition codex. It's on my bookshelf right now. I had the 10th edition codex as well. I ended up having to buy it, but I brought it to the game store to play a game with somebody, and I either left it in the back room or somebody borrowed it to look at some stuff and forgot to give it back to me. Either way, that codex is gone. I'm glad that there's a digital code that I could still access stuff in the Warhammer app. That was a new thing with 10th edition, I think. Maybe it was around for 9th and it wasn't that good. I'm not too sure. Like I said, I've only been in the hobby for a few years. I'm not one of these guys who's like, oh, I've been playing Warhammer since 2nd edition, and I hate all this new stuff. You can kind of tell I've run into a few of those guys who are really just haters. They're just really they're just jaded is what it is. And I get it. I 100% get not wanting to buy things from Games Workshop directly. I get it's a whole ecosystem. It's a whole universe. Like, I totally get where they're coming from. I totally get being jaded and not liking the new models that come out, or not liking the direction that Games Workshop is going, or the modelers are going, or the direction the story, the overarching story of the galaxy is going. I get it. At the same time, you don't have to interact with those people. You can be pretty casual when it comes to Warhammer. Some people might call me a tourist when it comes to that, especially since I hop around with Games Workshop games. Like I was telling you guys, I got into Kill Team. I got into Kill Team hard. I think I like Kill Team more than I like big Warhammer 40k. I've definitely played more games of Kill Team than I have of 40k at this point. It's a skirmish game. It runs faster, and you get most of my guys are like 10 models, and they all have a very specific cool thing that they can do. It's like, I've explained it as Kill Team and Warhammer in general as being really complicated chess, that you're going into a game knowing that you're going to be losing pieces. These models that you've spent dozens of hours putting together and painting and going over it with a fine-tooth comb on the details and lovingly slicing your decals in just the right way to make sure that they actually fit on the pauldron and flattening them out and doing sometimes magnetizing. I've been getting into magnetizing lately. I'm building up a sister's army now, and 11th edition said they're bringing back war gear options. If you don't know what that means, don't listen to me. You can skip ahead. So I don't know what war gear costs are going to be and what they're going to do. So I'm magnetizing a lot of my sister's army so I can swap weapons around, change some points around. I don't have the Sister's Codex yet, but I will be buying it pretty soon. I went on a bender this last weekend and built like 800 points worth of models. I bought the Armageddon Battalion box. I bought the Combat Patrol. I bought St. Celestine. And then I bought the Insidious Kill Team. Is that all I bought? Yeah, that's all I bought for Sisters of Battle so far. And that's over 1,000 points. I think that's like 1,500 points. I just spilled my coffee a little bit. Oh yeah, I got into Age of Sigmar. Well, we rewind. So I get into, I make my very first Warhammer purchase. They announced 10th edition. I get the Leviathan launch box. Awesome. I'm still sitting on a pile of Tyranids that I haven't even touched. I'm not interested in that faction at all. So I just don't like bugs. Simple as. Is it the year after that? New Kill Team? I think so. I think New Kill Team was after Leviathan. No, maybe it was Scaventide. It might have been Scaventide. Scaventide's announced, and guess what? They're redoing all the Skaven models. Remember when I talked about Vermintide 2? All the Skaven, not all of them at the time, but all the Skaven are getting new models too. Sick. I really enjoy the Skaven. I think they're fun. I'm not a big fan of rats in real life, but they're one of, it's been argued that they're one of Games Workshop's most, like, 100% specifically, this came from Games Workshop. This came from these English guys who grew up with all the Black Plague lore in real life. And what if, the Black Plague came to life? Or was anthropomorphized? Maybe that's a better way of putting it. It'd be these evil rat guys who snort warpstone like crack and build crazy machines to be evil, or do Frankenstein-type rat monsters stuff on each other, or have Vizig Scour, Prophet of the Great Horned Rat. The new thing with AOS is they made the Great Horned Rat an official Chaos God. So within the new Warhammer Fantasy Pantheon, the Chaos Gods transfer over between the two, between 40k and Fantasy. Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, Tzeentch, and then now the Great Horned Rat. So there's implications there within the whole Chaos God Pantheon that you could argue through warp shenanigans, the Skaven could show up in 40k. So it wasn't a bad purchase. I have like 1,000 rat models to paint, and I broke my desk lamp a few weeks back, and I need to replace it. And I can't get my details painted as well. AOS, Kill Team, big 40k. Got into all of those at one point. I bounce between them a lot. Spearhead is a really cool way to play smaller games of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I've played maybe like 4 games of Age of Sigmar, by the way, because it's very like magic heavy, and I don't have the endless spells, or manifestations as they're called, for the Skaven. I don't want to invest too much into magic stuff. I like the melee combat of... I say that, but I have mostly Scryer type Skaven that are big shooting. I don't know. The magic, the gameplay itself is cool. It's fun. I just didn't get into it as much as playing 40k. And I didn't get into 40k as much as I got into Kill Team. Because it's 40k on an even smaller, it's an actual, like, skirmish game, not like a war game, or like a smaller war game like Spearhead. But it's fun. I got into it mostly, to begin with, I mostly got into it because I wanted to get away from playing so many video games all the time. And to have a hobby that maybe if I was stuck indoors all the time, I would be doing something at least somewhat creative and productive. And I like painting. I like building. I like doing all the stuff with minis. They're very cool. I haven't ventured outside of the Warhammer ecosystem when it comes to minis. I will admit that. I haven't gotten into Conflict 47. I haven't gotten into War Machine. I haven't gotten into Trench Crusade. I kind of dodged a bullet with that one. That one was very, I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff with Trench Crusade, and you can look into it. It has a dope aesthetic. I'll give it that. It's very cool looking. Lore-wise, first-hand lore-wise, the novels. I got some novels. I got Krieg. And I got Brutal Cunning. Just those 2 paperbacks were the start of it. And then I got this new job where I have a lot more time to listen to audiobooks. So, audiobook-wise, I've run through... April, they launched a new Black Library app, and so they gave away, like, a bunch of audiobooks for free. One of those is Mark of Faith. That's the one that got me into the Sisters of Battle hardcore. I was like, oh, shit. I need to start an army of these ladies. They're badass. Listen to the Dominion audiobook for Age of Sigmar. I think that was the one that came out, the edition prior to, 4th edition AOS is what we're on, so it'd be 3rd edition. The Infinite and the Divine. Fantastic. Fucking awesome book. Awesome book. If you are interested in Necrons at all. And I did not like Necrons before listening to this audiobook, but I've only played against Necrons on the tabletop a few times from people, and somehow I have always played against just the sweatiest Necron players. I don't know what it is about the Necron army that brings about people who want to play the most hardcore, perfectly tuned lists. No shade to them. If that's what you're into, they're cool. They're really cool. They're Terminator robots that come back to life. They have a whole sort of Egyptian undying hierarchy of dynasties. They're super cool. The only piece of the Horus Heresy that I've read, or listened to rather, is Sanguinius, the Great Angel, which is the piece about the Primarch of the Blood Angels, I also thought about getting into, who I thought about as my first legion because they're like vampires. They're vampire space marines. And the red and gold, I've realized red is like my real favorite color. But this was about their Primarch. Very cool. I think that's all I've listened to so far. Brutal Cunning was cool. Very cool. I have a reel about it on my Instagram. Check it out. Krieg was fun. I will never build an Astra Militarum army. The Guard, mad respect. They're the humans. They're the human beings. Humans number 1. Best faction of 40k. And that's 100% biased because I'm a human. and I want humanity to win in the end. Be the monkey the Eldar think you are, you know what I mean? So yeah, we're going into 11th edition, 40k. And I'm excited about it. Hopefully, if you're thinking about joining up now is a really good time to buy in. If you're interested in the orcs, you should be. The orcs are fucking sweet. They're really cool. If you like Space Marines, even the Space Marine half of the box has some cool stuff. The Jump Chaplain is cool. Jump Pack Marines are very cool. We'll never get Jump Pack Centurions, thanks to the orcs, by the way. So, something you learn in Brutal Cunning. Centurions are sick. Those are mine. I think they're cool. Paul is bad at stuff on YouTube. He's the #1 Centurion fan. He's a cool guy. He's a big fan of the Centurions, and he knows them inside and out. And I'm a poser for having one unit. I feel like I jumped around a lot in this video. So if there's anything you want me to drill down on more, let me know in the comments. And I'm happy to oblige. I will be showing off some of my collection eventually. If you want to see more of my stuff, definitely check out my Instagram. It's the thing that I use social media for more than anything. YouTube is more of a side project. I'm probably never going to stream. I tried it a little bit, and I'm just not a fan. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of streaming. It feels very high pressure. Whereas these, I can just kind of talk into the microphone, be on video. It's too late for me to be a VTuber, too, because I've showed my face to you guys. But that's a lot of work to get VTubing going. Mad respect to VTubers out there. Maybe I'll do a deep dive into my list that I ran for 10th edition as my salamanders. Firestorm Assault Force / Vulcan's, Vulcan Seekers, something like that. The one based around the new Vulcan Heston model, which I had to buy, by the way, so now I have little Vulcan around here somewhere. I didn't even mention my Votan collection, which is not very big, mind you. It's a Combat Patrol and the Hearthkin Salvagers kill team. I bought the Salvagers. They were my first kill team, technically. Other than the Marines one that you can make out of Marines, because if you have a Marines army, you have 5 or 6 kill teams. Anyway, my Votan fully painted up. I want to expand their roster too, but I really fell in love with the sisters, and I think I'm going to pursue them through 11th edition. As long as the painting process isn't terrible. The modeling process has been a challenge, but I also, like I said, I broke my magnifier, and I need to buy a new one. I think we'll cut it there. Let me know what you think. If you want what you want to hear from me. I think it'd be cool to do kill team battle reports. I think it would be cool to eventually do big 40k battle reports. It's going to be a learning process, relearning some rules from 10th to 11th. A lot of it is transferring over. A lot of it is going to be new. Another thing, too. You don't have to buy all of the accoutrement when it comes to Warhammer stuff. Really, you just need the codex. And I've made all of these are my data cards for all of my 40k. See, you can read the Terminators one. For all of my 40k, my Salamanders army, the Assault Centurions, you can make your own stuff. At least that's what I learned. If you're like me at all, one of my learning styles is writing. That's how I keep my memory going. If I don't write something down, I will forget it. If I don't write something down, I won't learn it properly. So it helps. Helps me keep things more organized at the table. I've got all my dice. I'm trying to get a set of dice for each army that I have. Be hyped for Warhammer. It's a good time to get into it if you're thinking about getting into it. It's a little bit daunting, but once you get the ball rolling, things make sense. It doesn't become as difficult as you think. But I'm also not a crazy heavy player. I only really have weekends to go out and play games now, and it's enough for me. Most of my other time I'm building or painting or watching. Warhammer has some of the dopest animations right now that I've seen outside of like old World of Warcraft videos, like that level of, or like the Overwatch cinematics. Like Blizzard knew how to make a good animation. I'll give them that. Warhammer's animations, freaking sick. If you want to get like pumped, watch the Kill Team announcement videos. The one with the orcs and the Krieg, awesome. The Hivestorm one is sick. Watch Astartes, of course. You have to watch Astartes. That one was like a fan video that somebody made. That Warhammer, I don't know if they bought the rights from him or they straight up hired the guy to help them make them. I'm not too sure. Anyway, have fun, whatever you do. The future's bright, is all I'm trying to say. So, hang in there. Do your best. And we'll see you next time. Bye.